I remember it vividly. I was 72 years old, curled up on the couch, thick socks on my feet, yet feeling as though my toes were blocks of ice. The cold crept in so intensely, it felt like 1,000 tiny needles dancing under my skin, refusing to ease up no matter how many blankets I piled on. For a while, I shrugged it off. I assumed this was the natural way of things, another side effect of getting older. But the discomfort began seeping into my daily life. It wasn't just about cold toes. It was about how that chill turned my walks into wobbly struggles, how it made me hesitate to leave the house on breezy days, and how it slowly chipped away at my confidence. I found myself avoiding favorite pastimes like strolling through the local farmer's market or visiting neighbors on foot. It was startling, really, how something as simple as cold feet could impact the simple joys of everyday life. Then came a turning point that changed everything. A dear friend, someone in her late 70s, mentioned a little-known approach to boosting circulation. She'd had her own problems with numbness and poor blood flow, so bad it sometimes left her ankles swollen like balloons. She shared an intriguing, almost unbelievable story of how she turned things around. Her legs stopped aching, she regained the warmth in her feet, and she even resumed dancing in her living room when the right tune came on the radio. At first, I dismissed it as one of those, "it worked for me, might not work for everyone" situations. But over a casual cup of tea, she hinted at a handful of techniques I'd never considered. In that moment, something clicked. Maybe there really was a way to reclaim what I'd assumed aging had stolen from me. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful insights, what I like to call my circulation boosting protocol, that rescued me from endless nights of cold, restless feet after 70. More importantly, I'll show you how they can help keep your toes toasty, your steps stable, and your spirit uplifted. Each insight shines a light on a common misconception many of us share, and each is designed to offer both hope and practical actions you can take. These methods aren't about drastic diets or extreme exercises. They're about subtle, targeted shifts that make a profound difference in everyday life. I invite you to stick with me right to the end, because the final strategy I'll share is a hidden gem even some specialists overlook, yet it made a transformative difference in my own journey. I've spent decades looking into natural ways of staying healthy in our older years, and what I'm about to lay out is supported by what countless forward-thinking doctors and therapists are starting to recognize: that our circulatory health holds the key to a future of independence, warmth, and vitality. If that resonates with you, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you won't miss any upcoming videos. And as you follow along, feel free to let me know in the comments if this resonates with you by typing 1 if it does or 0 if it doesn't. Your feedback helps guide what I share next. Looking back on those frigid evenings when I felt powerless to change my situation, I wish someone had told me that there was a genuine way out, an opportunity to stand up, walk around, and relish every step without dread. So let's embark on this journey together. My hope for you is that, by the end, you'll see a clear path toward warming those cold feet, sparking renewed energy in your legs, and restoring a sense of confidence you may have thought was gone for good. Here's the first crucial idea that sparked my transformation. It may sound a bit provocative at first, but it's important to hear it fully. Most seniors unintentionally sabotage their circulation every morning without even knowing it. Let me explain why that can happen and how to turn things around for good. We've all been told that the more support, the better when it comes to footwear in our later years. The belief is that thick, cushiony soles and tight-fitting socks will protect our feet from aches and bruises. The truth is that while some support is necessary, over-reliance on ultra-cushioned shoes can weaken the very muscle groups that pump blood effectively through our feet and legs. Think of your foot and calf muscles as tiny hydraulic systems. Each step you take engages those muscles, pushing blood upward. When we cradle our feet in heavy, ultra-supportive footwear, we remove the demand on those muscles. Over time, they work less, blood flow diminishes, and the end result is even colder feet. Take Martin, a 74-year-old retired librarian who prided himself on wearing only the best orthopedic shoes he could find. He believed he was preventing injuries by essentially immobilizing his ankles in thick, rigid boots. But he started noticing that not only were his feet getting cold more frequently, he also had less sensation in his toes, especially at night. After speaking with a foot specialist, who informed him that his footwear might be overly constraining, Martin began a routine of walking indoors or in safe outdoor areas with lighter, more flexible shoes a few times a week. Within a couple of months, he noticed an improvement. His toes felt warmer, and he even regained a better range of motion in his ankles. The counterintuitive truth is that a certain level of movement and freedom within the shoe can activate dormant foot muscles and improve circulation. One actionable step you can try is what I call the micro-flex routine. Each morning before you get out of bed, gently circle your ankles 5 times clockwise and 5 times counterclockwise. Then flex your toes upward and downward. This simple 30-second habit jump-starts blood flow in your feet, setting a tone of warmth for the entire day. The emotional benefit is equally important. It's a reminder that you have the power to wake up your feet at will, instead of resigning yourself to the discomfort of cold, stiff toes. Before we move on, take a moment to picture yourself stepping out of bed, feeling a subtle warmth already tingling in your feet thanks to this quick routine. There's a reassuring sense of control in knowing a habit so simple can produce such noticeable results. And if you feel a bit of hope or anticipation as you imagine that, then you're on the right track, because just imagining improvement is often the first step toward making it real. Now let's look at the second key to improving circulation. This one challenges an even bigger misconception about physical activity in our golden years. We often hear that senior-friendly exercise means slow, measured movements, like gentle stretching or strolling at a very leisurely pace, because anything more might strain older joints and muscles. That's a misconception rooted in an abundance of caution. Yes, it's essential to move safely, but you also need some bursts of energy in your routine to stimulate robust blood flow. It's not about running marathons, it's about gradually introducing short periods of slightly higher intensity. One common mistake is believing that a calm, gentle routine is automatically the best. In many cases, it's a great start, especially for those recovering from injuries. However, to improve circulation, you want your heart rate to rise just enough to encourage a stronger blood supply to your extremities. Consider the example of Doris, an 80-year-old grandmother who believed a couple of slow laps around her living room each day was sufficient to get the blood flowing. Still, she constantly complained about cold hands and feet. After discussing her concerns with a fitness instructor specializing in senior wellness, Doris began adding a 20-second brisk walk in place to her daily routine, marching her knees up just a bit higher, swinging her arms gently but deliberately. She'd rest for a minute, then repeat. After a few weeks, her feet started feeling noticeably warmer, particularly during the mid-morning hours. The surprising insight is that your body responds to short bursts of slightly more challenging activity by sending blood more vigorously to your muscles, including those in your feet. By the time you finish these mini intervals, you may feel a pleasant tingling in your toes, an indicator that you're fueling your lower extremities with fresh, oxygen-rich blood. Start very small, 2 or 3 bursts of 15 to 20 seconds each, once or twice a day. Over time, you can adjust to your comfort level. Even if you never break a real sweat, these pulses of exertion can be transformative. There's a specific practice I like to call the TV commercial interval. Next time you're watching a show, when the commercials start, stand up. For 20 seconds, march in place with a bit more energy than usual. Then take a break until the next commercial. You'll be amazed at how quickly your circulation perks up. The emotional benefit here is huge. These little bursts can make you feel more alive, reminding you that your body is capable of more than you might have thought. It's a small but powerful confidence boost that can color your entire day in a more positive light. If these first 2 insights have been valuable to you, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're still watching and finding this helpful. And if you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Your support goes a long way in helping us bring you more content that can make a real difference in your daily life. Let's continue to the third concept, which addresses something nearly all of us have done at one point: spending large portions of our day sitting, whether it's in a favorite recliner, at the kitchen table, or on a cozy couch. We've been told to take it easy once we're past 70, as though rest is the ultimate remedy for all ailments. The misconception here is that passive rest will always restore us. In reality, prolonged sitting can restrict blood flow to our lower legs and feet, exacerbating issues like cold feet and stiff joints. Sitting for hours on end might feel restful, but it doesn't keep your circulatory system active. In fact, it's like turning off a well-oiled pump and letting everything settle into stagnation. Let me introduce you to Harold, a 77-year-old former truck driver. His job for decades involved long stretches of sitting behind the wheel. Once he retired, he naturally gravitated toward watching TV and reading for hours in his comfortable armchair. Over time, he began experiencing numbness and a persistent chill in his feet. Doctors told him he had poor circulation, but he struggled to see how he could change it, since standing for too long made him tired. The turning point came when he discovered a simple twist on his daily routine. Every hour he set a small timer. When it buzzed, he'd stand up, do 5 calf raises, lifting his heels off the ground and then gently lowering them, and then sit back down. That tiny burst of movement acted like a booster shot for blood flow, preventing his feet from turning ice cold by midday. Here's the counterintuitive truth. Short, frequent micro-activities can be more beneficial for circulation than a single, longer exercise session. If you get up for a minute every hour rather than remaining seated for, say, 3 hours straight, you trigger repeated waves of blood flow. Simple steps like calf raises, toe curls, or even just standing and gently shifting your weight from one foot to the other can work wonders. The key is consistency. Imagine your blood as a stream that flows better when it's allowed to move in brief spurts, rather than waiting for an occasional heavy downpour. The practical step you can adopt is similar to Harold's. Set an alarm or use something like a kitchen timer to remind you every 60 minutes. When it goes off, stand up and do any small movement you can, calf raises, gentle squats if you are able, or simply pace in place for 30 seconds. Not only will you feel a renewed warmth in your feet, but you'll also notice a boost in mental clarity. Each time you follow through, you'll experience a small sense of accomplishment that brightens your mood. The emotional benefit is that you stop viewing rest as a static, unchanging state. Instead, you see it as an active interplay where brief moments of movement can actually be more refreshing than hours of uninterrupted sitting. It's liberating to realize you're not stuck just because you're taking it easy. Even in relaxation, you hold the power to keep your blood flowing. Now let's explore the fourth strategy, which dives into a hidden factor affecting circulation: the foods we choose to eat and the timing of our meals. A lot of us hear about healthy diets for seniors and assume it's all about cutting calories, reducing salt, or avoiding sweets. While there's truth in managing intake for overall health, there's a little-known aspect of nutrition specifically tied to circulation: balancing certain minerals and fluids so that your blood remains at an optimal viscosity. In other words, if your diet leaves your blood too thick or prone to clotting, no amount of foot exercises or intervals will fix the root issue. A common misconception is that staying hydrated is something we only need to worry about in hot weather or after intense exercise. Many seniors inadvertently become slightly dehydrated throughout the day, which can thicken the blood and slow circulation. Edith, a 79-year-old choir singer, discovered this the hard way. She rarely felt thirsty, especially in cooler months. But she struggled with perpetually cold feet and was often short of breath during choir practice. Her doctor recommended a simple hydration routine: have a glass of water first thing in the morning and sip water periodically throughout the day, even if she didn't feel thirsty. Within weeks, her cold feet improved noticeably, and she felt more energetic when singing. The surprising truth is that mild dehydration can be a silent culprit in sluggish blood flow. Another nutritional angle involves key minerals like magnesium and potassium, which help relax blood vessels. Foods like bananas, avocados, and leafy greens can support healthy circulation. But it's not just what you eat, it's also when you eat. Large, heavy meals right before bed can redirect blood flow to the digestive system and away from your extremities, leading to colder feet at night. Instead, try a lighter evening meal with warming spices like ginger or turmeric. These spices have been referenced in numerous studies for their circulation-friendly properties, though you don't need to become a gourmet chef to benefit. A sprinkle of ginger in a simple soup can do wonders. One practical habit is what I call the 2 sips rule. Every time you stand up, to answer the door, to switch off the TV, to pick up a book, take 2 sips of water before sitting back down. It sounds minuscule, but those extra sips over the course of a day can keep you pleasantly hydrated. The emotional payoff is empowering. Instead of leaving your circulation purely to chance or genetics, you realize you can guide it through mindful choices. You shift from passively enduring cold feet to actively creating an environment in which warmth can thrive. If these 4 insights are resonating with you, let me know by commenting 4 below. And again, if you're benefiting from this discussion, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We're nearing the final piece of the puzzle, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Now we come to the 5th and final key. This is one I wish I had discovered sooner, because it addresses not just a physical barrier to circulation, but also an emotional or mental barrier many of us unknowingly carry. Far too many seniors have been convinced that once you reach a certain age, there's no point in expecting significant improvements in your body's condition. This belief is the real hidden hurdle. If you're convinced your efforts won't matter, you're far less likely to be consistent in any routine. The bold statement I want to offer is this: your body, even after 70, retains a remarkable capacity for adaptation and healing if you give it the right cues. The misconception is that old dogs can't learn new tricks. But think about it. Every year we hear amazing stories of seniors completing marathons, picking up new hobbies, or recovering from surgeries faster than expected. Many of these individuals share one common trait. They reject the idea that they can't still change or improve. Consider the story of Beatrice, an 84-year-old who had spent the last decade believing her body was too frail for any real exercise. She also had ice-cold feet every winter that made it difficult to step outside for more than a few minutes. After working with a physical therapist, she adopted a gentle but consistent set of circulation-boosting stretches and mental exercises to visualize warmth flowing down to her toes. It might sound out there, but within weeks, she reported feeling a tingling warmth and regained courage to stroll around her block. Her biggest triumph wasn't just physical, it was her newfound sense of possibility. The surprising insight here is that mindset and circulation are linked more closely than we realize. Chronic stress, worry, or a resigned "I can't" attitude can constrict blood vessels and diminish our body's natural flow. On the flip side, a hopeful outlook encourages relaxation, better oxygen exchange, and the motivation to engage in routines that keep you warm and active. So how do you harness this? One practical step is to incorporate a short 5-minute relaxation ritual at the start or end of your day. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and imagine a soothing warmth traveling from your core, down through your thighs, into your calves, and finally reaching your toes. Pair this mental imagery with slow, deep breaths. It doesn't require any special equipment, just a willingness to spend a few moments focusing on the possibility of change. While it may sound simple, the effects can be surprisingly profound, especially when combined with the other 4 points we've discussed. The emotional benefit is perhaps the most significant of all, regaining a sense of agency over your body. Instead of bracing yourself for another cold night, you'll begin to trust that your daily practices and positive mindset can and will make a tangible difference. This isn't just about having warm toes. It's about rediscovering hope in areas of your life you may have written off. Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey these 5 insights offer. Think back to the subtle footwear adjustments, the short bursts of energetic movement, the hourly micro-activities, the mindful hydration and nutrition, and finally the powerful shift in mindset. Each of these alone can help, but when combined, they form a multi-pronged approach to reviving the warmth and vitality in your feet and lower legs. Now imagine yourself putting these steps into practice. Picture starting your day with a few gentle ankle rotations, noticing a slight hum of warmth in your feet. Later, while watching TV, you hop up during commercial breaks to do a quick high knee march, feeling your heart rate rise just a little. You remember to sip water before settling back down. As evening approaches, you prepare a light, warming meal, maybe sprinkled with a bit of ginger, and finish your day with a simple visualization of warmth traveling down your legs. The next morning you wake up noticing that your feet are not quite as cold as they used to be. Over time, that difference becomes more pronounced. You feel steadier on your walks, more open to being active, and more confident in social gatherings. That's the transformation these 5 points can offer. Which of the 5 resonates with you the most? Perhaps it's the idea of adding small bursts of activity, or maybe it's prioritizing consistent hydration, or adopting a more hopeful perspective about what's possible at your age. If one of these stood out to you, think of one step you can take today, right now, to incorporate it into your routine. It doesn't have to be a grand overhaul. Often, the biggest changes in our lives stem from the smallest, simplest daily actions, done consistently over time. If you feel inspired, I encourage you to share in the comments one thing you learned and how you plan to use it. Maybe it's that 2 sips rule or the micro flex routine in the morning. Hearing your goals and experiences not only helps you commit to them, but it also encourages others who might be on the fence about making a change. Your voice could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take that first step. If you found this video helpful, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone you believe might benefit. Friends, neighbors, or even a relative who might be dealing with the same issues. Every engagement from you helps us continue creating content aimed at empowering seniors to live with greater comfort and confidence. Never forget, no matter how cold those feet may feel right now, you possess the ability to spark warmth, both physically and emotionally. Thank you for watching. I look forward to hearing your stories of transformation, and I can't wait to see you in our next session, where we'll continue exploring ways to improve vitality and well-being in life's later chapters. In the meantime, stay curious, keep your hope alive, and remember that your best days can still be ahead of you, brimming with comfort, strength, and renewed warmth from your toes on up.